Welcome back, everyone. It is week 2, day 5 of Web Fundamentals, the afternoon lecture session. We're going to open up and talk about Project Week. We're going to do an introduction into Agile development, as you see the title of this afternoon session here. And so, as I mentioned before the recording, I have a slide prepared for us here. We're going to go into the Agile development, what that means, and into Project Week and what we can do to come up with project ideas this weekend so that Monday morning, so let's see our schedule for Monday morning, after I do our morning algorithm, that morning after the morning algorithm next week, the plan is that we would be doing wireframing and planning of our project on Monday. So that wireframing planning, it doesn't have to be done by Monday. We're going to start it on Monday. But this lecture is to get the creative juices flowing for yourself, to come up with or start coming up with a project idea, a plan for it, and that plan including a wireframe. The wireframe is the blueprint for the website. The wireframe is like the blueprint that we gave you for the test, and it would say, here, make the website look like this. This is the layout, and here's the features, the JavaScript features each section should have. So that's the wireframe. It's the instructions, the blueprint for how you're building your website. So you're going to be building your own blueprint for your website, and we're going to show you how to do that explicitly on Monday morning. But first, let's talk about what this whole week entails and what we can consider as projects that we can think about for ourselves, for our own project, what we want to build. So this weekend, I want you guys to have that simmering in the back of your head as you're resting and enjoying this weekend. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into our slide. And then after we finish our slide, I will go to the platform. And in the platform, you can see where I am. Excuse me. You can see where I am by tabbing over here in the section heading. So there's the JavaScript, right? So we've done the assignments on this section, then we can go to the algos. And if you go one scroll past algo, right? So one more click, then you're at this section here, projects and portfolios. And then from here is where I am going to start introducing the platform information after I do the lecture slide right now. Okay, so let's do this lecture slide. I'm going to do this PowerPoint presentation, and then we're going to go through this material here that we see. And we're going to end this lecture talking about different projects, viewing different projects, and just maybe we can end it with the conversation, talk about what we could do as potential projects, and open up a discussion about possibilities if we have any questions. Okay, so let's get started. All right, welcome to Project Week. You guys have made it. Again, be proud of yourselves. You passed your test. None of you going into next week still taking the test, but we have Project Week. That's a new feature of WebFun that we have this week devoted to building a project. Usually Project Week was for the other feature stacks, but we realized this is an important time for us as web development students to pause and make our own project for what we've learned so far already. So let's start our introduction. So the first slide here, Project Week. So what is Project Week about? So we're going to create a personal project using the skills that you've built, the skills that you've developed to build websites like the one you built for the test. This time you're building a personal project for yourself. So the overall design and the quality of the project is it should be consistent with your abilities and your individual timeline. So that means you're creating a timeline for yourself. Let's look at our schedule for next week for just a moment. Think about what you were able to build on your exam day. How difficult it was to accomplish those exam features within that 5-hour period, right? I want you to think about what you're able to do in that sort of pressure, in that work environment. And you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to work on that project. So you want to make it a project that would span all those days of work, not something so simple it would be done in one day, not something so complex it would take weeks, but something that you can create a timeline and divide your work in that timeline, projecting what days you would do which work. Okay, so like figure out what the project is you want to work on and how much you will work on it on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, what specific features you're going to be working on each day, and an estimate about how much time it should take you to implement each feature. We're going to talk about making our timeline and the tools that we'll need for that, but I'm just giving you a broad general overview, okay? And again, as always, feel free to interrupt me, ask any questions related to what I'm talking about. If it's just not making sense, raise your hand. Okay, so we're talking about building our project, creating a timeline that will describe our workload for each day. Okay, so we have to do some estimation in our head of how long it may take us to do each feature that we're going to implement in our project. Okay, so let's go back to the slide now. And we need to produce a portfolio wireframe. So again, a wireframe, when I say wireframe, if it's not clicking yet, what this is a blueprint. Okay. Or an outline or description. Right? We know what a wireframe is because we've had to understand and interpret it in order to build our projects for it, or our tests. Okay, so we know what a wireframe is. And this week, the type of project that you can build, we're going to encourage you to build your own portfolio website that will host about you. It will host information about you, the developer, a bio, portfolio of your projects, some way to contact you, a description of how to contact you. So that would be a useful project for yourself. If you don't know what to make for a project this week, consider making a portfolio page that will host your information, maybe information you would see like on a LinkedIn or some kind of website that shows your professional career information and history, but one that you're making for yourself, not through some platform's template that you're creating, but a website that you can show, hey, I can make a website too. This is what mine would look like since I can make one. And here's my information that I'll host. So consider making a personal portfolio. If you can't figure out a project outside of that, that's completely fine. Portfolio is totally necessary. But you can create a project for a website, let's say maybe a friend or family member is needing for a business, then you can have a personal contact and reference to them. Or you can, create a website that you've always imagined making but never had the time or ability to do. Okay, so passion project is also something you can have on your table. On your portfolio, you can talk about your technologies and skills that you've mastered, ones that you feel confident interviewing for. So now we can put HTML, CSS, and JavaScript on there. We can have a project section on that page, a contact me section, We can show our HTML and CSS prowess and our creative abilities, what we'd like to show as our, our ability in a creating of a website. I always think it's fun to show your personal style a little bit, a little flair comes out through your portfolio, and that's always okay. An interactive feature requiring JavaScript. So we want our portfolio to show our JavaScript abilities as well. Portfolio code should be accessible on GitHub. So whatever you post, whatever you post or host online for your website, that we want to see how you built it as well. So we should see your code accessible and viewable on GitHub. This will be proof to recruiters that this code for your website, you built it, it's yours. You can see it, even the construction of it. So you'll be able to see your website in and out, inside and out, through posting it on GitHub. And we can also host it on GitHub. So there's a service called GitHub Pages. I'll show you guys, Sean will show you guys how to use that. But once you are able to host your project on GitHub, you can also then use GitHub to put your project to the World Wide Web that anyone can see. Okay, so consider a passion project or a portfolio that will boost your success. Anyone have any questions so far about what we're doing this project week? All right, so give me a 1 through 10 in the chat to make sure that I know you guys know what we're doing this upcoming week. Creating a website for ourselves. It can be a portfolio, it can be a passion project. It's up to you. Cool. So any questions related to that so far? Again, we're going through this at our own pace. Feel free to interrupt. Okay. So let's move along. Next part of our next thing I want you guys to do here, as you're considering what you would choose for your portfolio or personal project, I want you guys to research. And what that means is going to your favorite websites. All right, make a list of your favorite websites that you like to visit, that you like to read. What do you like about them? What's in the style of the website, the building of it, the color, the construction, the layout, that you like to be there, that you like to read the information there, or whatever you do in that website. So write a list of your favorite websites. And then also in that list, write something. Why are they your favorite websites? What about them? Right? Try to be a little introspective and think to yourself, why do I like these sites? What are the best features about these sites that I can implement potentially into my own project if I'd like to? Okay, so that always helps me to feel a bit more in control of where my design for my project is going. Researching and looking at other websites, noting to yourself which ones are the best and why. Why are they best to you? So look at different nav bars on different websites, look at the layout of different websites, compare them to each other, find the layouts that you think make sense to you, and then JavaScript features. I don't think there's anything there. Figure out if there's any JavaScript features at all that I would need on my page. What would they be? How can I implement JavaScript into the user experience of my page? Okay, so very simple starting point. Research your favorite websites. Research your favorite websites and find the best things that you like about them. Okay, that when you feel lost and not sure where to start there. Now, once you figure out what you like, and you have, the best of the ideas maybe combined in a rough outline in your head, and you start to draw it down on a piece of paper with, on a notepad with pen and paper, pencil and paper. So draw different wireframes by hand. I would say recommend by hand because it's super easy to draw squares on an 8x11 sheet of paper, or then you can flip it landscape and then draw what your website would look like in a landscape mode. So it's really easy to just draw, and if it doesn't work out nice, just crumble up the paper, go to the next layout. Easier to do that, start there with that, than to go to these websites where you can create wireframes and you're clicking and selecting buttons. I mean, they're helpful. I do find them helpful, but I find pen and paper starting there is the way I like to go. I mean, that's just my recommendation. Okay. So these wireframes, these websites, to be able to create your own website, wireframe, excuse me, I would like to delve into this a little bit later. We don't have to go to these websites and show how to make a wireframe. But what I'll say is the one that I will point to that recommend it will be Balsamiq. I don't have a link on here, but it is here in the platform. So we'll go into how to create wireframes after this slide. Okay, so create a wireframe for yourself, design your website and map out the major sections and features. Draw little sticky notes on your wireframe as well to show, just like your wireframe for your test, what the different features will be. And thank you, Vincent. Vincent has just linked a link in the chat to Balsamiq's website. Balsamiq is a service where you can create your own wireframes. It's what we've used as the dojo to create the wireframes for your assignments and your tests. You can get a week's free trial by signing up. There's other free services, but Balsamiq, you can sign up for the first week for free. And there's a couple other services like ExcaliDraw, their wireframing services. Honestly, I would just go with the free week trial with Balsamiq and then go with the free ones. Don't save this for later. See if you like it now. Webflow, is that another one? Is that another wireframing? Let's see. I learn new ones all the time. So let's see. Yeah, if you have a wireframing app or website that you like to introduce to us that maybe we can benefit from knowing, of course you can use Webflow. So I'm not too familiar with this service, but if you are and you'd like to use it, please introduce it to us. Okay, we're always here to learn. So yes, I think this is a good service probably. I still recommend Balsamiq because that's the one I know. So even though there's a free trial, you have to put some information in there. Just get that free trial and cancel your membership before they start to charge you. Okay, that's honestly my best recommendation. Okay, so wireframes, I've talked about that now. Draw it out by hand first and then move to a website once you have that final sketch draft, and move it to a website, get that wireframe on a website so that you can share your screen with your cohort mates and show them your wireframe, not just hold a notebook to the camera. That's not what we want to do. Get that final version that you sketched out onto a digital wireframe using some of these services. Again, we'll show the different services you can use. Balsamiq's the one I recommend. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the agile development process. Agile development process. So this is a mouthful, right? What is it? What do I mean by that? Agile development. Well, what agile development is, it is a way that teams will choose to tackle or work together to tackle a project. Okay, so there's different methodologies that a development team can use to tackle a wireframe or assignment. One way, which is not the way that's described here, is called the waterfall method. The waterfall method says, all right, here's the big picture of the design, the wireframe they're supposed to follow. do it, create it. We'll meet with you in a few weeks when it's done, and then you show us how you did it. Okay, I'll see you in a few weeks. That's the waterfall method, big picture. I'll give you the giant overview of what I want you to do, and I'll meet with you when it's done at the end, or you and the team of developers when it's done at the end. That's not the way we're going to be doing things this week. I'm not going to just give you guys project week, and then I'll see you on Friday, see how it went. No, we're going to check every day, and we're going to create a process by which we're showing our work and talking about our progress and what we need to do to progress if we hit a snag or hit a wall or something. This is the agile development method. So we are meeting every day, and we are agile in our plan. So if something doesn't work, we'll pivot somewhere else and do something else that will work, or we'll talk about why we're not getting success in what we're working on, our plan of attacks that we can use. It's a way that teams can talk with each other on a daily basis to talk about what the workflow process is, so that a team can be a well-oiled machine, communicating and talking and functioning together. So the agile development process, again, let me describe it. We're going to meet every day, talk about our progress according to the timeline that we would have created for ourselves. Are we meeting our goals daily for what we thought we would be doing that day? If not, what are we doing and why? So we'll go into this a bit more in practicality, but let's talk about what I have here on these other parts here. This purple circle here that says, as a user, I want, and then a feature here, so that this benefit. So this is called a problem statement. And you want to be able to write problem statements for yourselves that describe the purpose of your website. So if I were creating a portfolio project, I would try and create a problem statement for this portfolio project so that I can describe its purpose. So as a user on this portfolio, as a visitor on the portfolio website, I want to be able to easily, and so this is my feature, easily navigate and scroll through the website to learn what and why I should want to hire the person that I'm currently seeing on their portfolio. So as a potential employer, I want to be able to navigate through this portfolio website so that and then the benefit may know that this is the candidate I want to hire. Okay, so create problem statements. We'll go into this in more detail in a second. I'm just introducing it. Create problem statements that will clearly define the purpose of your website for yourself, so that when you're creating, you have that orientation, that center focus that's going to help you create your wireframe. That problem statement is going to help you organize yourself and your wireframes as to why you're creating the different sections so that they match your problem statement, the overall problem of your problem statement. Okay. Now, in about agile development, teams typically develop features in sprints. So that is a cycle of work. Sprints that last either 1 to 2 weeks. Each sprint consists of planning, meeting, daily stand-ups, and finishing with a retrospective meeting. So we talk about what we've just talked about, and then how we should move forward. So there should be no mystery as to where anyone is in their workflow process and what we need to do to move forward and accomplish what we're trying to achieve. So we'll do daily stand-ups, and we'll be talking about whether we're meeting our goals, and if not, what we need to do to meet them. So let's again look at our schedule next week. Daily stand-ups, as you can see, is in the morning after your morning algorithm. So you'll be showing your wireframe, your timeline, your current progress, and how it matches with that timeline. We'll be doing that every morning. Okay. You may present for 5 minutes, but maybe more, maybe less, depending on what you have. And then Sean will be asking, and he'll be playing the role of your project manager that you would have, like, let's say if you're employed. So if a potential employer asks you if having experience in agile development, in agile development, then you can say yes, right? That's the purpose of why we're doing agile development for Project Week. We're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. 1, we're having you build a project for yourself, and 2, we're using the agile development method to hold you to your own standard and give you that experience within an agile development environment. Okay, so I see a question here saying, do we need the wireframe going into the morning planning meeting on Monday? No, but that's what you'll be doing from then on. So you want to be planning, somewhat in the back of your head until then. If you want to do it before then, completely fine. Of course, you can do that. Maybe more helpful if you work like that. But if you want to just take the weekend to think about what you could be creating for a project, passively thinking about it as you're getting some rest for yourself, that's what you want to be thinking about. What I want to build for a project and what the wireframe would look like for that project. We'll be going over more planning on Monday afternoon after that wireframing planning. And then every morning we'll be doing the stand-up process until we present our projects on Friday morning, the 25th. Okay, so sound like fun, guys? Excited? It is exciting, okay? It's daunting maybe, but it's super exciting. I am somewhat jealous of you guys that I didn't get to do this as a student myself. So let's look at some portfolios. And now, these aren't the best examples of what portfolios, the standard of what portfolios should look like. I have a lot to point out with these pages as to what they could improve, but that's not the point of this lecture. I'm not here to decimate everyone's portfolio projects, though they would require some necessary critique. I'm just going to leave that for Sean to do with you next week. Okay, all I'm going to do is just open the door here, show you what you could do. Okay, so we have four Coding Dojo student portfolios. So these are not, again, the standard of what a portfolio should look like, just some that we found impressive that we can say, hey, look, you could do something like this, right? And again, they're all different from each other. None of them are perfect. I can point out plenty there in each website that could use some serious improvement, but these are just some website ideas to get your creative juices flowing. Okay, so here we have Kyle Suyamura's website, and we have a nav bar at the top, and it takes us to different sections in our page. We have here a giant opening with his name and title, background image, and if I scroll down the page, I see an About Me section, and he's written a little description about himself and has added some images to add to his description as well. He added this feature here, which is called parallax. This is parallax image scrolling. So as I scroll through the page, it's as if I am seeing different sections of this image as I scroll through it as well. So it's kind of an interesting, captures your eye's attention as you are going through the page. And then right as you're seeing the vast bit of the image, then you're forced to look at the next section. And here he's listed all his technologies in giant images. Not the prettiest if you ask me, but works for him so far. So he wanted to put his tools, his technologies that he's familiarizes himself with in form of images that his recruiters could see, potential recruiters could see. Another parallax image, a title, centered title, and then his project section. So we have here a description, a link to the GitHub, a GIF showing his interaction with his own website. So you can start creating your own GIFs and videos once you finish your website. So you can interact as a user. You can show what potential users what they could do on your website. Okay, so here's one project. Here's another one. We won't dive too deeply into this one. He's deployed, as you can see. This one, is it going to load? I don't think this is reliable. Okay, so he must be outdated in his linking of his demo, but he had deployed it at one point, and we were able to see it. So just as a reminder, keep your websites up to date. So we here have the same thing, another GIF, another GitHub website hosted, and description. What technologies you use, what's the purpose of the app, a mobile app, and a contact me section. Let's take a look at Kyle's portfolio page in mobile form. So let's go here. Is his work optimized for mobile? And as you can see, it is. It's pretty much the same website, but now in a narrowed window view, you can see as you scroll through the website, same information, just now in a narrower column. So you can see that all here. You want to consider making your portfolio website optimized for mobile as well. One way we learned how to do that was through Bootstrap today, right? Bootstrap will do that for you. We haven't exactly taught you that, how to do it on your own HTML and CSS. We used to have a lecture devoted to that. That's what I would normally have taught this afternoon, but Sean wanted us to go straight into this. So bug him if you want to know more about media queries and how to optimize your website for all views apart from Bootstrap. Okay, I can link you guys some resources that I've created for that as well, if you're interested. Okay, so here's Kyle's. Let's look at Kate's. But before we do that, does anyone have any questions so far about what we're talking about, what we've looked at? Okay, then let's move along. Here we're at Kate Sullivan's website. A lot going on here. I had one very similar to this one when I built mine. Okay, there's a nav bar on the left instead of on the top. And this nav bar, it sticks with you wherever you go on the page. So it's fixed to the left. And whenever you click a section on the nav bar, it'll bring you to that area on the right-hand side. So you can go to the About, Services, Skills section, Education section. And by the way, look at this, the way that we have this before we go to Education. The Skills section, she's put her coding languages in a percentage. What does that mean? What's 90% good at CSS mean? Anyone? I mean, that's hard to say, right? But it's funny that whenever you get a call from a recruiter or potential employer, they will ask you, hey, how would you grade yourself as a HTML developer? And you got to come up with an answer. You're just going to come up with something like, well, am I going to grade myself horrible? No, I'm pretty good at HTML, CSS. You're grading yourself against, all the other developers that you don't know. And then you just give yourself this arbitrary number. Well, what I'm trying to say is that as arbitrary as it looks, it does help to have that kind of estimation for yourself, because they're going to ask you that silly question anyway. So have a silly answer ready. Okay. So Kate's done this already for us. Just put up front. And this percentage is almost like a confidence meter. Like, hey, I'm like 85% confident I can do anything you ask me with HTML. So don't take it as a hard line measurement, just like a confidence measure, basically what it is. Tire check. And listed her confidence and skills in different frameworks, developer tools, just put it all out there. Kate's put it all out there. Lots of cool stuff. Just that percentage is this like necessary evil. It's like not really descriptive, but people ask it anyways. You can't get around putting this inaccurate description. So now we're at the education section. Kate's listed her education accomplishments through this here. See how this, when you click a section, it opens up. We can create this through Bootstrap. So this is the accordion on Bootstrap. And I hope you guys took some time to look through it on your own before this lecture, but look at this accordion feature. We can implement this as easy as copying and pasting. And it works just the same, right? So you click on one section, it opens it up, and it closes the other sections, just like if you were peeking through a book or something like that. An accordion. That's why it's called an accordion. Some of them are always open. Whatever you click is always going to remain open. There's different accordions, different styles, different features. But I just want to show you, it's not like Kate figured out how to do this all on her own. She used some Bootstrap for herself. Certifications. She has a lot of information. Again, there's no definite hard. Yes, there is a recommended way. We're not going to get too deep into that this morning. I will recommend some resources for Sean so he can give you, if he feels like it's necessary to tell you some major pointers for how to create a portfolio. I'm just giving you guys the broad overview of different things you could do. Okay, experience. She's listed her whole work experience. And this can be helpful too. If you don't have any, career services will work with you to help you build your website and things that you should list. But generally, I mean, if none of us have any direct developer experience coming out of the dojo, what we could do is list all our past work experience or education experience to build a story about how we even got to this place of being developers. How did our career paths lead us to where we are? How can we use our past skills for our potential future contracts or employment? So it is helpful to have all this information. Very explicit, very verbose style that Kate has. She wants to tell us everything. That's okay. References. Kate has references as well. More portfolio. This is her portfolio. She's just made them links, basically. Not as descriptive as I would say Kyle's portfolio section. And then she has some organizations she wants to tell us that she's associated with. And then a contact section. I think this is really cool. This is probably my favorite part of her page, which is a section where you can write an email on the page itself. So you can say, hi, I'm Josh. Here's my email. And then I can say, hello, I'd like to Okay, so here I wrote a subject, and then you can, send it with some information. Really cool if you can get this working. It honestly just takes a Google search to figure out how to make this work. Not really difficult at all. Okay, I can point you in the right direction if you're getting stuck, but really Google search will help you figure out how to implement stuff like this. And by the way, while we're on that topic of searching different features online, this project week, right? You're creating your own goals for your project. You may give yourself a task to learn how to do something that we instructors have never really attempted before, have done before, and that's okay. We'll help you figure it out on your own. But this week is not like our assignments week where we knew all the answers to all the assignments. Here now we're learning with you. You're leading the way. into learning how to make different things work. We're going to follow you wherever you go and help you kind of navigate the landscape if that's what's necessary. Okay, so now you're going to be learning new stuff on your own, Googling stuff. That's a skill we're going to be learning and developing at this project week, because not everything is cookie cutter. We don't have a portfolio template that we're going to give you, say, here, make this. You make it yourself. Okay, you make your own template. It's your website, you make it. But we're going to help you figure out what features that you want to implement, so don't feel like you're all completely on your own. Okay, you have each other, which is the most important resource. Now we have another website, got 2 more left, then we'll close this session out. We have our website by Elaine. She's gone for a simple aesthetic, nothing too fancy, very simple. Her philosophy seems to be less is more. So she's gone through the about me, through the what I do section, straight through her portfolio, and it's descriptive enough. I mean, it tells us what technology she's used, what it looks like, and just not so much about the purpose. That's what I'm seeing is lacking. What is this app supposed to do? Why did you make it? I mean, it looks interesting. It looks like it does something, but just give me a bit more description as to what it does and why you created it, is what I would say too. Elaine, then contact me here. She has, photo of herself, her email, GitHub, LinkedIn, some links at the bottom. Again, not a lot I'm going to critique right now. Okay. The point of this is not to show you how to make a perfect portfolio, but just to show you different students' creations to get your mind thinking. Okay, think about this stuff. Now, lastly, we're going to go through Akimi's. Akimi was a student here. She created this website for herself. She likes her style font. This is what she decided for herself. I like it too, but I've noticed some people don't like it. I don't mind it, but I noticed some people really don't like to read through this type of font. So be wary of that. Be careful. You're making this website not just for yourself, but for other people to read about you as well. So make it understandable. Here we have a quote, a cool little animation link to her profile pic. She has an about me section where she describes herself, what she does in her spare time. More CSS animations here next to just text descriptions. She talks about her story. So her portfolio is more like, it tells her story, her about me, her career, first project, and then her experience at the boot camp. So here we see projects she worked on using for mountain climbing, rock climbing. Her experience at the boot camp, where she talked about what she did month by month. And this is actually really, really cool, because when you speak to potential employers, you kind of have to tell them this experience that you had at the dojo. Every month I was learning so many new skills, working so much time to absorb this information. It really does look impressive that you're able to do all this stuff. It's almost unbelievable to some people, and rightly so. I mean, we are doing something really awesome, which is learning all this stuff in such a short amount of time. Okay, yeah, some people barely figure this out after 4-year colleges, and 4-year colleges don't tell them exactly to learn this stuff in this order. You have to kind of figure out that you have to teach yourself. But we're doing it directly through this boot camp, so it is cool to talk about your experience. I would never shy away from talking about how much you've learned in the boot camp. Okay, so you do have to kind of talk about it a little bit, but you get used to it. And then also here, she has this section, and our career services will talk to you and enforce you doing this. But if you go to her GitHub, this is her GitHub, you can see her activity as a developer by how many times she's pushed to Git each day. So it looks like earlier, or about a year ago, she was really active. She was pushing a lot on GitHub up until the end of September. Something happened where in October, where she's been busy until about mid-May. And then mid-May to mid-June, she was busy pushing a lot of stuff online here. So whatever code she built, she's been pushing online these days. Why I'm showing you this is because recruiters or potential employers look at your LinkedIn, and if they see this all green, they're going to be thinking to themselves, "Whoa, this guy is coding all the time," or this girl is coding all the time, and I want her on my team. So that's the point of her showing this. Okay, this is something the career services will tell you. Hey, the more you post, the more you push your assignments on Git, the more active you show yourself as a developer, the better you look to a potential employer. So she's been doing that. Maybe she got a job at this time and she had no time to do it. That's probably what happened. But show yourself as an active developer by pushing, and it'll show in your GitHub every time you push. So this is really cool that she's done that. She's incorporated a screenshot type of thing here and a link. Now her project section. She made a coronavirus forecast center. Interesting. She's made an interactive computer vision lab, a multilingual video chat. Really cool. And she's linked not only the GitHub and website where it's hosted, but she's made a YouTube video. So she's recorded a video interacting with her own website, describing what the website does. I'm not going to go through this because it wants to show us an ad. But she's recorded herself using her website. I don't know what that was. I think that scared me for a second. Okay. So here she recorded herself using her app with a friend. And then she recorded herself. She's put that recording on YouTube. So sometimes when recruiters go on your website, if they don't know how to use it or what to do to tinker with it, a YouTube video where you tinker yourself with it as a developer showing what can be done, that's a really good idea to put that on your portfolio through a YouTube video. Really easy to make a YouTube video. Could be just a few minutes. Okay, so more projects as we see here. Donut Alert, an app that shows you who stole the donuts. A Pokemon API app. By the way, which API did Sean show you guys yesterday morning? See you guys talking, but maybe on mute. Pokemon, so you know what this is. This is that Pokemon one. Who's that Pokemon game? And then she's made some sort of rock climbing training system. I want to go into that, but it looks interesting. And then the skills section, she's listed her skills this way. Title, description on the left, and then details on the right. So for databases, she's listed MySQL, Postgre, Cloud, Firestore, MongoDB. You can fill up your website, your portfolio skills section with the skills that you know you will achieve as a student, or you can fill this up as you graduate, right? So you can edit up your profile as you achieve learning all these technologies as a student here. Parallax section for her education information, showing us her history as a student. Okay. And now her experience as well. So she's told us about her time as an intern, as a teaching assistant at the dojo, at Google, at Huawei, and some other work that she did for the UN. some more courses. She wants to tell us everything. She wants to tell us even the Udemy projects she's learned. So Udemy, Coding Dojo, all these different courses that she's taken online. She feels like it's worth mentioning. And why not put it on there? Maybe some people would be impressed with the LinkedIn material. LinkedIn has some hard tests, by the way, for coding. That you can put some badges on there on your portfolio saying, oh, you passed a test showing that you know HTML, CSS. So LinkedIn has some stuff like that. I just leave it there with that information. Okay, and then she has some social media icon links at the very bottom of her page, at her footer. Twitter, LinkedIn, her GitHub, Medium account. So this is Akimi's. Now, not perfect. Again, I'm not using this as a standard for the perfect portfolio, but this should get us to understand the different types of portfolios we can make for ourselves. Yeah, a lot of languages, right? 6 languages. It's like I'm jelly. All right, so cool. All right, I think that's gonna wrap up what we're gonna talk about today. I don't think we're gonna talk much more about what we have to do. All right, so we can read through this information ourselves. I would say it would be good to read ahead. And then, you know, pen and paper, research some websites so that on Monday morning, wireframing, it'll just come to you in the moment because you've been thinking about it this whole weekend to yourself. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoy this week. I'm excited. I'll have my own stuff that I'll be working on next week, but hopefully there will be an opportunity that I can peep your guys's your projects maybe on Friday morning. See how you guys have done, right? So enjoy this week, like I've said. Now I want to open up this time for any questions. Do we have any questions as to anything I've talked about to this point? Again, I would read through each tab slowly. Look into agile development, look into different inspirations and ideas. You know, think, okay, if you don't want to make a profile right away, you want to make a passion project, what kind of stuff are you into that you can make a website for? And then MVP. MVP stands for minimum viable product. So as we build our website, we'll learn that we can add more and more features to it. MVP, minimum viable product, what that's describing is what's the bare minimum that you're going to show us in your product on Friday morning to show us that your product or your project is viable, that it's good still, good for presentation, even though it's not 100% complete. So that's what MVP is referring to. So read through this to understand how to determine your MVP. We have some wireframing tools that you can use. You can start on this if you want to do it early. Again, Balsamiq is here. There's these other services that are free as well. Some description on how to use Balsamiq in this video. And then some description here on how to host your project on GitHub and using GitHub pages as well. Lots of information you guys should peer through here that they would be, well, let's see what's on the agenda. I don't think UI UX is explained so much. I would read through this on your own. UI UX introduction. UX and UI refer to the user experience and the user interface on their website. So both are different and important. We talked about user experience a little bit today when talking about a problem statement. So that problem statement describes the user experience in a way. Design principles. Here are some design principles you can use to apply to your website: simplicity, consistency, flexibility, and accessibility. I wanted to show you guys that when I was showing you the portfolios without saying this explicitly. But keep these 4 principles in mind when creating your website. You want to make your website simple, less is more, consistent color schemes, just like the test, flexible. So whatever your goal is for your website, you want to be able to be flexible with that, either for the view or features that you want to implement. And accessibility, make sure that your interface, the view of your page, is accessible to everyone. So is your website going to be so flashy that someone with epilepsy is not going to be able to view it? Or is it going to be, the font so small that you're going to have to like really zoom in? So think about making your website accessible to people with maybe some types of visual impairments. And again, also mobile view for that recruiter that's most likely going to view your website while he or she is scrolling through her phone when they're on the phone with you and you're telling them, oh, look, go to my website at me.com. Most likely go through their phone and see your website on their phone. So mobile optimization for your phone, for your website, is highly recommended. And yeah, some more principles regarding accessibility of your website, meaning who can use it based on the colors, the font, the text, the layout, etc. Okay, so lots of information, I know, but what I want you guys to do is, if you're feeling lost, go back to the drawing board. Do some research. What's your favorite websites and why? Then create a sketch of your own using the best features on a pen and paper. Okay, so that's all you guys really need to worry about this weekend. Monday morning, you'll be starting the actual process of wireframing and planning after the morning algo. Okay, and then Sean will take you from there. All right, fantastic, everyone. What a nice Friday we had today. I was glad to be your instructor and meeting you all. So do we have any questions before we close up this session? Okay, awesome. I'll take that silence as a no. Again, you can always drop by our office hours in our rooms if you remember that question you want to ask. Okay, so have fun with this week, you guys. Again, it was a pleasure to be your instructor today. Who knows what the future holds? If we hope that Sean feels better. And if not, I most likely will see you guys again. All right, so very cool. And awesome, guys. Well, let's go ahead and stop the recording.